You are listening to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast, where we strip away the noise, unleash our truth, and align with our highest self. I'm your host, Felicia Dom, certified life coach, Reiki practitioner, and chakra guide, here to help women find deep love and interconnection within themselves. This podcast is here to increase awareness, inspire your journey, and educate you as you reclaim your energy and rise fully into who you are. Check the show notes for links to my healing circle, coaching, and more ways to work with me. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Unleashed and Aligned podcast. I am here with Marlene Anderson. She is a speaker, self-care specialist, former elite athlete, and toddler mom. She supports mothers by bringing the mental grit and high-level sports in order to build lasting lifestyle habits so they can thrive in motherhood. Struggling her way through being a new mom, she realized that a very different approach was needed and created the Mighty Moms Blueprint. It's a 4-step system designed to help moms rebuild their energy, motivation, and consistency by teaching them how to use self-care as a daily opportunity, not just as a luxury. And how this is the key for moms to feel like themselves again. And I absolutely love that. Welcome, Marlene. How are you doing today? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Felicia. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I love it. Thank you for the introduction. And what about me? Honestly, it's like you're covered it a little bit. I'm like a fun fact about me. I am talking to you now from Kuwait. So I'm actually Swedish, but I ended up in Kuwait. So I'm sitting here in the desert. It's about like 45 degrees outside. It's like that's Celsius, like 120,
Oh my
115, something
goodness.
like that.
Do you go outside in that heat, or does most people stay inside until it gets like darker?
Yeah, we kind of stick to like you can the funny thing, you can go outside. It doesn't feel like, if I compare when I lived in the London or when I lived in Sweden, like 30 degrees. Like, okay, sorry, I have no clue about
And
Fahrenheit,
no worries.
but like that's like very high. So now when it's and you're sweating and you can't sleep at night, and it's just like you get heat stroke. And here at 45, it's like it's hot, you sweat, but it doesn't feel like that, strangely enough. I think it's just because it's like the dry heat is like a
Oh,
desert heat. But yeah, we don't really thrive outside. Like I said, we like I said to you, I'm a toddler mom. So my toddler, we have to play on indoor playgrounds. That's where we hang out in the
nice.
summer. Or you need to go out very early or very late just to let the sun set. So yeah, it's very strange. Like to even though I've been here 12 years now, but it's still like a strange phenomenon to me
Oh,
somehow.
that's funny. So I just looked up 45 degrees Celsius is 113 Fahrenheit. And so
There you go.
30 is 86, just for the any listeners that were curious. Because I was like, wait, I need to know this. It would be something like definitely an adjustment to get used to that. I can relate it's not that hot whatsoever, and it's a different heat, but I live in Washington State in the US, and yesterday I think it was close to 90 Fahrenheit. So 35 degrees Celsius is about 95. So yeah,
Yeah, but
pretty
that
close
is
to
hot.
like,
And
yeah,
and
it is, and I have a husky puppy, and so he cannot be in the heat, so I have to go out. I was out at 5 a.m., which is our normal walk time, but then I took him back out around 8 before the sun starts really peeking through everything. There's still a little bit of shade, and then we probably won't go out until the sun starts to set and there's more shade out there because it's just too hot for him. And so I get it a little bit, but I probably can step outside more often than you're doing there.
thankfully we do have killer AC though, so
Okay.
I'll hand that to us. It's like everywhere.
Oh, that's nice.
I, I think even the cars, they're specially made when they come here to handle the heat and have stronger AC for us
Nice.
to get through these like 3-4 months when it's really hot.
Oh my goodness. So let's dive into some of the questions I have for you. And the first one is going to be, when did you realize you were playing small or holding yourself back? This can be any stage of life that you're called to speak on.
The one that came to mind is more recent to me. And it did start when it was a big trigger because it was such a huge shift in my life when I
Mm.
became a mom.
Oh, yeah.
Because things just change so much. Like I say, obviously, you go from being like your own person to
Yeah.
taking care of another person and adjusting to that. But I noticed when I actually started playing small was when I was developing the blueprint you were talking about in the beginning that
Mhm.
I'm coaching on. Because I started developing that when I had my son. Because when I had him, I used to do coaching and do a lot of in person, like rehab and training and things like that. But when I had my son, I decided, no, I want to shift. I'm going to do more virtual and become an entrepreneur so I can be more flexible and be like really take on the role of a mother as well. I didn't realize that starting a business is like having another baby. It was like having twins. I should have thought about that. Hindsight is always
Right.
2020. But so I started developing this course and I had one of my mentors helping me developing it and doing the beta testing and all these things. And I was just sitting in it. I don't have you ever had a project or you've done something and you're sitting I just caught myself in front of the computer and I'm treating the workbook and everything I'm working on like I'm painting the Mona Lisa. It's like a little stroke here, a little change here. Oh, maybe this font is better. All these like nitty gritty details that really does not matter in the big
Mhm.
scheme of things. And I had a call with my mentor. He said, "Yeah, so how you been doing this week? Are you gonna launch it soon?" I was like, "Yeah, soon. I'm just gonna do it. I have just some things to change and tweak." And he just like, Marlene, like seriously, is that what are you doing? Like, why are you not just doing it? Can it help people? Yeah, so do it. And then he said, it will come because also as you're coaching people, you notice what some people like might need more. You need to tweak
Mhm.
something. Like till this day, I'm still developing it and changing it and evolving it
Yeah.
to be even better. So he just do it. And it just hit me when he said it to me. It's just, yeah, I've always been this little bit like overachiever, perfectionist. Like
Mhm.
since like forever, I would have a mental breakdown before every exam when I was in
Oh.
because I want to have a perfect score. Nothing
Mhm.
that my parents were telling me or anything like that. It was just something in my brain was wired that way. If I'm gonna do something, it needs to be perfect. I was sitting with my course, so I'm trying to make it perfect. And God knows how I thought like this is now it's perfect. I don't know how I would ever know because it will never be at the
Right.
end of the day. And then when I realized, I was like, why am I playing small? Like, why am I just not going out there and helping and serving people? I'm sitting here in my little nook and have a greater fear of it being rejected because in my mind that would be the worst ever that somehow it's not perfect instead of just going out and doing it and actually contributing and helping people. So that
Mhm.
was one of it really just like that perfectionism just held me back so much. So if he hadn't just opened my eyes to it, I don't know if I probably would still sit for years later. I was sitting here adjusting fonts and looking for typos.
Oh my gosh, I can relate to that so much in a sense, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that can relate to that perfectionism and always trying to try to catch something that is unforeseen. Like I feel like that's part of the perfectionism is you're like, what might people say or what might people look at or what might people point out that's wrong? And it's so funny that our brains do that because, like your mentor said, and like you realized, is you're going to develop and learn as you go because that's really the only way you're going to find out. You can't get into everybody's head. You can imagine, but you're never going to be able to know what their thoughts are until you start like working with them and they're telling you. And so I think that's such a great lesson. And especially I think that holds a lot of particularly entrepreneurs and people in business back from being so much, I don't want to say better, but having a better idea of what people want, what people need, what their job wants, etc., by just diving in and doing. And then you
Yeah.
figure it out as you go. So I think that's really good. So in the midst of that, what is something that you had to let go of in order to become more of who you are today?
Yes, obviously I had to let go of some of my perfectionism,
Yeah.
that getting used to that good enough is much better than perfect. It
Mm.
doesn't need to be perfect because it's such an unrealistic expectation. As you said, we can't predict. We can sit in our head all day and play out all these like 10,000 different scenarios, and we don't even know what, if any of it is going to come
Yeah.
true. I think that's also one of my mantras I started saying to myself, with like the difference between faith and fear, because both of them requires you to believe in something that hasn't happened yet. Because fear is like you can either be afraid of the future and what your decisions are going to come to, or you can have faith in that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
But something that I discussed it with a lady that, again, we were talking as mothers, that we sometimes need to set boundaries, right? That we need to guard our values a little bit, that we can't say yes to everybody and leave ourselves last and things like that. But I said to her, actually, something for me, it wasn't about holding my boundaries. It was actually about being more flexible with the boundaries I put on myself. Like the
Mm.
things I had told myself, no, I can't do this, or it should be done in a certain way. For example, as I was talking about this self care, I used to be an athlete. So I was used to be able to do almost optimal and perfect, which I like, that I can really nail down my nutrition. I can sleep and recover. I did saunas, I did massages, like I did all these fancy things to survive all the hours of training I did. And I could train at the times I wanted to, that was better for me. I had a very strict schedule. And as I said, like as a mom, all of a sudden that doesn't fly. I didn't want to train the 10 to 15 hours a week that I used to spend, or sometimes more. And I can't go for a massage whenever I wanna. I'm not gonna sleep 8, 9 hours uninterrupted. It's just always a gamble, like things like that. So I had structured my thinking around, if I want a certain level of health and fitness and well being, I need to do it this way, because that's what I knew was the
Mhm.
only thing I've been doing for almost a decade. And then obviously I realized if someone is not an elite athlete, they will do less and things like that. But for some reason, that didn't apply to me because I knew what worked for me. So then I had to release those boundaries a little bit. There are more than one road that leads to Rome, and
Yeah.
there are more ways to get results. And the funny thing, I discussed it also with a good friend of mine, that it's hard for us to realize how little it actually takes for us to get really good results. It's going to be like
Mhm.
20% of the work is going to give you 80% of the result. It's like when you want the fancy schmancy extra, really next level stuff, yeah, it will take a lot more effort. But to get that really good result, we really don't need much.
Yeah.
And so that's something I just had to wrap my head around, that I don't have to train 10, 15 hours. Like now I maybe on a good week, I do 3, like on a very good week. And still, as I said, again, like 80% of what I probably like strength wise and everything, I got,
Yeah.
because it's in the consistency of just doing good enough for a very long time.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that because I love the body and the mechanics of the body, and I've always been an advocate of working out and things like that. And I used to go to the gym 3 times a day. I would go in the
Wow.
morning, I would go on my lunch break, and I'd go after work because I did it out of almost like this punishment. You need to be this good. You need to, if you want to look like this, you have to grind hard and struggle. And I mean, I definitely feel like there was a part of I was younger too, but I wouldn't say I can't, but I don't do as much as I used to do, and I don't recover as quickly, but that's part of my age. Like, this is a 10-year difference. But I can work out. I try to do 4 or 5 days just because I like it, but I can do 3 days, like you said, and I still feel like I'm optimal and I am hitting the goal targets that I wanna hit. I'm hitting my weight targets and building on the muscle that I wanna build without really putting a tremendous strain on my body, which can be and I'm leaning towards more of the 99%, more destructive for your body than helpful, unless you're doing it in, like, a controlled way with a trainer that you're getting the recovery and stuff, but I definitely wasn't getting the recovery and all the fancy things you talked about. I was not doing any of that. I was just going 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, you can grind through this. And it leads to burnout, like that all or nothing thinking for sure can lead to burnout. And you like when you're doing something out of resentment, disgust, anger, like that have to, should to feeling, I just don't, I feel like it's not lasting. Like you're not going to last when you do it. If you're doing a schedule that you like and a way that feels good for you and you're doing it out of like nourishment and love for your body and yourself, I just feel like it's a game changer. But yeah, resonate with what you're saying, and I think really important, and I think it's an amazing point that you bring up that you don't have to struggle and you don't have to grind really hard in order to see those results that you want to see, which I think probably gets portrayed in like social media and online and on the TV so that people buy into the products and the memberships and all the things that come with putting that scarcity mindset out there for people. You have to do this a certain way.
I love that you brought that up because it's funny with, as you said, that we do things out of hate or out of love. I actually wrote a blog post not too long ago, and it was exactly around that because with it was basically around punishment based training.
Mm,
And if I could go back to my personal trainer coach self when almost like 20 years ago when I started, because that was what I had in mind when I coached my clients. If they came and they said, about, oh, yeah, they feel a little bit confession time. Yeah, I ate a little bit too much in the weekend. Or we had this birthday party and they start describing, I had a little bit too much cake. It was such a good dinner. So I just had a little bit extra. I know I shouldn't have. And just so that's just like a separate thing. But then, so then as many trainers do till this day is just okay, so today we're gonna do extra hard, or this week we're gonna work extra hard because we're gonna burn off all that
oh,
those
yeah.
extra calories and these kind of things that we get into, as you said, that now food is the reward,
Mhm.
exercise is the punishment, and it
Mhm.
should not be like it's like food is nourishment, and so should exercise be. Like
Yeah.
we want to build our body. We don't want to punish ourselves. Like we're not, because to me, as I'm not your parent to punish you because a slap on the wrist, like you did bad, and now we're gonna use exercise to punish you because it's not. And I look back at how wrong we just use that because as you said, it's not sustainable because
No.
I'm not going to look forward if we use exercise as a stick, either if a coach does it or we do it because then we feel like we should do better. Like I didn't
Yeah.
do well enough. I didn't walk enough. So now I need to really do it really hard to
Mhm.
catch up or something like that. It becomes a stick and nobody looks forward to going and see like this stick and get hit with it
Yeah.
because that's what it becomes. And then people wonder, why do I not feel motivated to go to the gym or go out for my
Yeah.
walk? Because we have just this negative association with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. Like I said, like everything we do that's for our health and well-being, it should feel we should know like from a deeper level. We might not always feel like it. God knows I do really not always feel like
Yeah.
doing the things I'm doing. But I know, like deep down, I'm doing it because I love myself. This is
Mhm.
something my future self will be grateful for that I did. And I don't do it like to punish myself. I would still want to make sure it makes me feel good in the moment. That shouldn't be this long grind and suffering and or
Yeah.
as if I did something wrong. So I love that you brought that up. I think that it's such an important part of starting to love what you do. And I think that's also something I resonated what you said also with going. Is this something when you're in your 20s or something that we do like
Right?
really weird stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know because it triggered a memory for me because I remember I got out of university and I think it was also that the I was so used to having a plan. As you go through school, you go through university, everything is laid out. You're gonna do this course and then you're gonna do this. This is how you know how to pass. And then all of a sudden I just assumed my little naive 20-year-old self that as soon as I graduate, of course I get a job like
Yeah.
straight away. My first application, they're just gonna jump like from left,
You're
right, and
here.
center. Yeah. Find pom poms and confetti. Oh, she graduated. Now we can finally hire her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite that. So that was like the first real reality check for me is just that, oh, yeah, I can get rejected. Oh, okay. Even though you have my grades and I have my bachelor degree
Mhm.
and I have all these things. For a year and a half or 2 years, even, I was job hunting and I just could not get hired. And it really wore on my mental state because you're so used to like, why doesn't anybody want me? What am I doing wrong? And I started handling my stress through exercise. That
Mhm.
was how I had to cope with it. So just like you, I could go for a spin class in the morning and then because I have nothing else to do during the day besides sending out applications and doing things like that. Probably at least twice a day I went to the gym and it got to the point so you would think I would be this uber duper athlete, but I was really not because I was just overtraining so much and I know my hormones got, as you said, I burned out and it didn't show physically. Like I had stamina, I had all these things. My hormones were just shot. And I think I didn't have a period for, yeah, a year and a half.
Wow.
Because I just like no matter and just oh, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, I wonder,
Yeah.
maybe stop. I even and so that was just like that was how much the stress got to me. So it was just again also when exercise does not become very healthy
Yeah.
because now that was the only way I had to process things. And it's just exercise and movement is great, but there is the flip side to it as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's with anything. It's like when we overdo it, I like to tell my clients, like, if you want to have like the cake or the ice cream or whatever at the birthday party, build it into your plan and prepare for it and plan for those activities and understand that you want that. But if we do it every day, that's not really helping our progress. And it's the same, like you said, with exercise. If we're constantly exercising to have this aesthetic outcome and not to because we're out of that love for ourself, it can be detrimental to our health and it can actually do the opposite. And I love how you said you do things for your future self. And we'll just use the example of exercising. You're exercising for your future self, even when, on the days that you don't want to, or just to feel good. Because I do think that there's people that are like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to exercise. I don't like it. And I think that we forget that there's other forms of physical activity that you can say is exercise, and to find that for yourself is something that can be an exploration. Maybe it's a dance, maybe it's a spin class, maybe it's just walking. But I also think that there's something to how do you feel after you exercise? That's really important to remind yourself of why you do it because there was a period where I started jogging and I wanted to jog because I had asthma as a child and I never felt like I could jog. And I was like, I just want to jog 3 miles. That is my goal, 3 miles. And I hated it. I hated every time I got out of the car to jog. But when I was done jogging, I felt amazing. Like I love the feeling afterwards. And it kept me, I would even have like anxiety before the jog, anticipating the jog because I didn't like it so much. And I ended up running a marathon last year, which was amazing. I also did not like it when I was doing it. It was like horrible in the moment. But it's like I still to this day will jog, and I don't do it as much as I used to. I used to do it like every day or at least 5 days out of the week. I might do it once or twice a week, but it's because I know when my body wants that endorphin rush and that feeling after the fact that I absolutely love. And sometimes I feel like I just need to get some of that energy out. It's kind of like my dog when he has zoomies. I gotta get this out.
The
But
zoomies and
yes. And so I think that it's good to notice what makes you feel good after the fact. And it might not feel that great in the moment, but that feeling that you get is a response from your body saying, yes, I do need this. And it doesn't have to be so grueling when we look at it in a different perspective.
I think it's something that it takes, like, I'm blessed in the way that it's something I think my being an athlete gave me in a way. This, especially because I did CrossFit, which is just
Mm,
based on going until you drop. It's just do as much as you can in 20 minutes. And so you just need to get into that mind space that it's going to hurt. You just know I'm going to be out of breath. Everything's going to burn. It's
mhm,
just, but that's the way I have to feel to be the best at this.
mm,
I can't feel, ah, I can catch my breath. I can grab a
yeah,
drink of water. No, it's just, it got so drilled in that it's going to be uncomfortable. And I think it's something that we forget. Even if you don't think of exercise, I'm sure any person have. If you think back to something when you did it, like it was scary, you didn't feel really great when you did it. Maybe it was like you were going to go in for a job interview. It was so scary. It was so like you're sitting there like freaking out in your chair. You have all these uncomfortable questions. You have no clue if it goes well. But then after you're done and then, oh, I got the job after, and like, oh, it's just
yeah,
like whatever. Like you have these moments when you go through it. It was so uncomfortable going through the process, but you're so happy you did it.
yeah,
And it's just discomfort is just to me now, like when even this year, even more, I just put a challenge to myself. Like I want to continuously, as soon as I can, if it's something that I get offered or something I see or something I think about, if it scares me a little bit or a
yeah,
lot, or if I know like part of me really doesn't want to do, like really I don't want to do this, then I'll do it. Because to
mhm,
me, I'm just gonna drill my mind to associate that discomfort, like slight discomfort we're talking now, that's growth. Because when
yeah,
we are comfortable, we stay in our comfort zone. That is like what feeling comfortable is.
exactly.
And anything that, so to me, like discomfort is that, and that little fear we feel, that's us pushing on the wall of our comfort zone, and we try to push through it and expand it. And just as you said, in the moment, you're not feeling great because you are now pushing through the boundaries of what you were able to run. And then you grew that comfort zone until you ran a marathon, which is absolutely amazing. And so I think we forget that when we try to become better, it will be an uncomfortable process, just part of the process. So we can go back into comfort sometimes because it can be a bit draining to always feel like we're uncomfortable every single day doing
Yeah,
something all the time. But that is part of the package to me that I think you need to embrace that. It's like some discomfort, and then depending on what your capacity is, what you're going through in life, and what you have at your disposal, how much support you have, all those things will decide how much and how often of that discomfort you can handle, to what level. But it just needs to be there. If you feel like this workout was a breeze, or
mhm,
this project I was doing was so easy, like I can do it in my sleep, then great. But you didn't learn, you didn't grow, you didn't become
yeah.
better.
I like that you touched on, like, the slight discomfort because I don't think that you have to have the grueling agony, dripping in sweat, and I think that's a misconception that you have to sweat during workouts to get a good workout, but I do think you have to be uncomfortable, and honestly, to grow a muscle, we have to fatigue it, right? I guess it's not common knowledge, but that is something that you have to do in order to build, and so there's going to be discomfort there regardless if you're doing high reps, low reps, and when you go into the gym, how your training is, how your training program set up. And so I
Yeah,
think
even
that's
mental muscles.
it. I
Even
was
like
gonna
it's just
say,
like physical muscle, mental muscles. That's
yeah,
why when we try to change our habits,
yes,
it feels uncomfortable to do something different because now you need to work a different muscle.
yes,
And I think they even did studies that every time we try to go against a set neural pattern, it actually releases a stress response in the
mhm,
body. It actually does make us feel a bit stressed to do something different, which is quite wild, actually. And so that you feel like it's normal. The
yeah,
right, like the right thing will feel wrong for,
yeah,
like, I think up to, usually they say doing a new habit takes 21 days. I think that the latest research is actually 66 days is the average.
wow,
So that is, so that's okay. That's why we will do something and then we'll fall back. We'll fall off the wagon for a little bit because we
Mhm.
go back into comfort and then we go back out again. And then as
Yeah.
we keep practicing, like we will do that less and less. And as you were discussing a little bit, that all or nothing, that as soon as I do something, I need to do it right all the time. If I want to eat better, I'm going to move better, I'm going to start reading, and like whatever it is that as soon as we decide, we think that's it. It's, yeah, making the decision. That's definitely the first step. We need to make a decision that we're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
But when we do something new, we are a beginner. Just like when we're gonna learn to skip a rope or something, we're gonna trip up, we're gonna trip, we're
Mhm.
gonna try again, and we're gonna swing. And after a while, we will start getting like really good, and we can do 100 in a row or like several minutes in a row. But it's just, it's okay to make mistakes. That is part of the learning process
Yeah.
because you're a beginner. You don't gonna take piano lessons and assume that you're gonna play like some extreme Mozart on your
Mhm.
first lesson. You have to
I wanted that to
practice.
happen when I took piano, but it didn't happen.
I love it
Yeah.
because it's that saying, like I said, with like I'm gonna say for my son, when he was gonna learn to walk, when you see a baby is learning to walk, they fall over so many times. Like God forbid. I think if we, when we were babies, thought, oh, this walking thing is not for me. I fell over 10 times now. I'm just
Yes.
gonna sit here. That's what I love about watching my son. They have this exceptional
Mhm.
resilience, curiosity, determination. Is just like they want to do something and they'll do it. They keep practicing until they do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want to, as I don't know when we start losing that as adults,
Right.
but like when we make that decision, to me, it's just the biggest opportunity like you can give to yourself is once you make the decision, it's just, it's okay that it's not going to be perfect. It's okay that I'm going to make mistakes, but I will make it happen. It's just, I'm
Yeah.
not going to quit. I'm going to learn along the way and it will happen.
You touched on that earlier about building up the capacity. It's like when we're doing something, we're also building up that capacity in ourselves for that resilience because you're not going to be going at something and have that mental capacity to push through the uncomfortable. But you do build it up over time as it gets uncomfortable and I want to say like chip away at it more and more. You start building up that capacity to sit with things that are uncomfortable for longer. And I think that is a really important thing that you had mentioned along with everything else that you said. And I just want to say too, I love that you brought up the baby walking and how that they just keep getting up and the babies don't say, I'm just going to sit here. Screw it. Like, my mom will bring me everything until I die.
Yeah.
But it's also when we think about moving, and my coach always said this, is like we have this mental chatter in our brains that it's so mean when we do something wrong. And if you think about the baby walking and how if you fell, if you're learning how to walk and you fell and you're like, oh, I suck so bad, or you'll yell at the baby like, you're a disgrace, you don't know how to walk. You would never do that. And so we do that to ourselves when we're trying to learn something, which is and when you think about it, it's like ridiculous. It seems funny that we would do that when we're literally trying to learn. And so to have that space to have compassion for our own like journey and learning and know that we might fall a couple times in the process and it's okay as long as we get back up and we keep trying and striving.
Yeah. So the self criticism, as you say, is so crucial to become aware. That's what I
Mhm.
love using for my clients, like even in my coaching, that to do some kind of journal, even if it's not anything like journaling, because it's just becoming aware, as you said, of that mental chatter, because it really wires us to how we respond, how we feel. As you said, as soon as I make a mistake, it's, oh my God, now again. Oh, I knew this would happen.
Mhm.
I'm just not that kind of person. I always quit. I should have just, what was the point? I can even catch myself as a parent. You have, it's, I think it's even a saying with, you can do 1,000 things right. As soon as you do one mistake, that's what everybody will remember.
Yeah.
And we do the same. I think we do that more for ourselves. Like we do so
Oh
many
yeah.
good things, and like we did so many things that were right during the day. But then as soon as we do something that was like, okay, that was not like what we wanted, and all
Uh-huh.
of a sudden that's what we keep thinking about all day. Like, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I did that
Just
instead. Like, oh, why
ruminating.
did I? Yeah, exactly. And For me, it's always that when we feel good, we make good choices. When we feel bad, we make bad choices because we act in alignment with how we feel.
Yeah.
That's why I love you bringing that up, to become aware of that mental chatter and just being more compassionate and kind and giving yourself that grace when you go through these hard moments, just like I would do with my son. I wouldn't smack him down as the, why did you do this?
Yeah.
Is what's wrong with you? Is this like, why do it? Like, why would I want to do that to myself? Because how is that gonna make me feel? And like, just if I imagine how that would make him feel, would he want to try again? Probably not, because I don't want to get yelled at again and have that negative feeling again.
Yeah.
So I think that is that we just try to raise our self-talk a little bit and just be a bit more, okay, that didn't work out. Like maybe I can do, and just focus more on the process. What can I do differently? Like why did I make that choice? And just start being curious and develop an understanding for why we are doing certain things instead of just criticizing ourselves that we did a bad thing or like the
Yeah.
wrong thing or whatever you want to call it. So I love
Yes.
that you mentioned that.
Yes, yes. I feel like I could talk to you forever about these things, but well, I'll steer back on. So I do have another question for you on going back to what we were talking about with what advice would you give to a new mom who is struggling in that space that it sounded like you were in is, okay, this is my old self and this is my like child that's coming in and I don't wanna say disrupting because that's I think an elaboration, but it disrupts your schedule of what you used to do. And how if you I guess if you could go back to that person and say something to them about this new navigation in their life, what advice would you give?
Yeah, I try to think back to myself with, because as I said, I felt my world was just in chaos. But it's very gentle way of putting it that they
Yeah.
disrupt your schedule. They turn it upside down, and as they should do, to be honest. But I guess I can just go for what helped me was to, as I said, stop looking backwards
Mm,
on what I used to do, because at the end of the day, we are different. And that's why I try to make mothers realize, like, when we go that through that transition into matrescence and becoming a mother, it's not just our schedule that changes or the fact that we have a baby, like your body has changed.
mm,
It's like, and also our values will change, how we want to spend our time will
yeah.
change because now we have a family and a baby and we want to spend time with it. I'm not going to go and do 3 hours of training. It's just not there. I don't want to
Yeah.
anymore. So for me, it's just getting curious. What is it that I want? And what is it with my in my new phase, let's say, of life? What is it that will make me happy to do? Does it make me happy to spend time with my family? Great, then do
Mm,
that. As you said, I don't. For me, I didn't want to go and train as much anymore. Like, what would make me happy? Like, to just today, I just want to go for a walk in the sunshine with a stroller with my baby, and that would refill what I need to do. Like today, I am super exhausted. Today, I'm gonna have a nap. Like to my husband, here you go, take him. I'm gonna go down and lay down for a nap because that's what I need now. And just be honest with not what we should be doing, but what do we actually need? And
yeah.
just stop looking at what everybody else is doing because it's so easy to, especially now with Instagram and social media and everything, and you get everybody's highlight reel of
Yeah.
this is how quickly they got their body back and they look like they never had a baby and they doing this and they training and I can do this. I ran a marathon 6 weeks after I gave birth.
Yeah.
Great if you can do that. Like, good on you if you can. We're celebrating you, but we should never feel pressure. That should be us in at the end of the day. And as I said, with self-care to being the key to feeling like yourself, that's what to me is that self-care is something we do for our health and well-being.
Yeah.
And what is that? And you need to see what that means to you because it's going to be different for everybody. And that's why I always, if you want to make it simple, it doesn't need to be spa days, like an hour or 2 hours away doing something. For me, I always center it around some things we already do, like eating, we eat, we sleep, we move. and just try to do around those things that works in alignment with your body, your values, and what makes you happy. And then you're going to feel like so much better than trying to either go back or look at what everybody else is doing. Allow yourself to be in your little bubble and be curious of what is it that I need and not what I think I should be doing or needing at this point.
I love that. It's like honoring that new version of you and what that looks like.
Absolutely.
Yes. When you feel stuck or disconnected or off, what do you do to realign?
So for me, okay, I guess it depends on what, as you said, like you I guess after so many years, you develop a sense of what it is that you need. Kind of, do I need to sit back and chill and
Mm,
just disconnect from the doing, like the hustle, allow myself just to do something absolutely brain dead. And that's what I need now. Sometimes I go, like I say, I exercise, I move my body to get out of my head. For me, it's very easy to keep thinking.
yeah.
I always keep thinking of things. So for me, I love training in that way, especially doing like heavier weights or something that forces me to be out of my mind and into my body and
Mm,
focus on what I'm doing. Or as I said, if I need something more subtle, I usually do breathing or journaling to reconnect with that like deeper, calm myself down so I can find that. And I just realized actually a new favorite of mine is lately like if I had a lot of it can be stressful to be entrepreneur, to be a mom. Like today my toddler had the nicest mood of all. He's been like a little, I call him a three-nager. He said it has
oh.
had a lot of attitude today. And like I said, they don't mean it, and you can never take out like your stress and frustration on them. And I really try not to. So then I usually go at a later point in the during the week or something, and I just punch a pillow really hard.
Knows that.
because
I was not expecting
because
that.
because sometimes it's like I said, it's everybody gets frustrated. So don't punch people out. It's like, don't, we can't always yell at our boss. And we can't tell people off who cut us off in traffic or whatever that frustrates us. And it's okay to be frustrated. It's a normal, regular emotion of something
Mhm.
need to be all monk-like and zen and that we never feel angry. We're all so relaxed. And
Yeah.
no, it's okay. If you really feel like go and take a like kickboxing class or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like me, like I said, go and punch a pillow. So something just like it's good to get that out also, I swear.
Yes. I like that. That's amazing. So my last question for you is what does unleashed and aligned mean to you?
For me, I think it means just being open to change.
Oh, I love it.
Just to be, I think that that is my how I would summarize it quickly. Just be open to change because we are always changing, and being stuck in our ways is not going to make us feel neither unleashed or aligned.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This has been an amazing conversation, like all of our conversations. I absolutely love talking to you. Is there anything else you are feeling called to share or say?
No, I think we covered a lot today. So I think I really like I say I love talking to you. Also, I can sit here, schedule out my whole evening, and just sit
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
No, so I just want to say thank you so much. It was such a wonderful conversation. I love leaving when I feel like I could just sit here for hours. It's the best feeling.
Yes, it's amazing, and I will definitely have all the links so everybody can get a hold of Marlene. She is awesome, and we got to have you back on. But thank you again for being on the podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review so that we can connect with more people to develop our mind, body, and spirit.